Okay, so it seems to be 2 o'clock Eastern time, which is our start time. My name is Steve Roses, and I'm with HeinOnline. And we have Tim Hooge, also from HeinOnline here.
Hello, everyone.
And thank you so much for making this part of your day. I know you have lots of other webinars you could be attending and other things. We appreciate you making HeinOnline part of your day. Some of you have attended some of our webinars before. We very often are doing demonstrations of our academic package called HeinOnline Academic. I do have that in front of us as well, because HeinOnline Academic is something you can use to research immigration. But in addition, we have an additional collection called Immigration Law and Policy in the US, which is inexpensive, but it is an additional collection, and that allows you to get even more in immigration law and policy in the US. So just a quick background for some of you who have not attended HeinOnline webinars before. We're based in Buffalo, New York, actually Gettysville, New York. I happen to be in Maplewood, New Jersey right now, and my colleague Tim is actually in our headquarters in Gettysville, New York. And so we've been around since approximately the 1950s, starting as a print publisher. And then in 2000, we came up with HeinOnline. HeinOnline at first started with just a few journals and not much more than that. Now we have over 2,900 journals in our HeinOnline academic package. And when you want to seed the journals, you just go to our law journal library, and that's going to show you the 2,900 journals. Every one of these collections within HeinOnline Academic, you just click next to the I and it will give you a description. In this case, we see that there are 2,955 journals, and many of those journals cover issues related to immigration. So that's going to be an exciting part of what we demonstrate here. But HeinOnline is not just journals. HeinOnline actually has over 30 different collections. So for example, we have a whole collection in HeinOnline Academic of books, electronic books. In fact, over 17,000 different books. And some of those books deal with the topic of immigration. And everything's fully searchable, so we'll be showing you how to do searches. In addition to that, HeinOnline has government documents. What kind of government documents, you ask? Well, many different government documents. We have things like the Federal Register, the Code of Federal Regulations, the Congressional Record, the Congressional Serial Set, US Supreme Court cases, lower federal court cases, and then we also have state cases. All of these sources certainly cover a lot of immigration issues as well. So even without the add-on of the immigration law and policy, you'll be able to research a lot of immigration collections if you subscribe or if you're on trial to HeinOnline Academic. And I know many of you are general academic institutions who subscribe to HeinOnline Academic, and then many of you are on trial, and then some of you are considering having a trial. So definitely when you have the trial or when you subscribe, or if you subscribe, you'll be able to search many different areas of immigration. So with that said, I'm going to just show you a quick search using the regular HeinOnline Academic, and then I'm going to show you some other things specifically in the immigration law and policy in the US. And so I like to start sometimes in my searching by looking at journals. And so let's go to the journal library. And by the way, since I'm at a home office, if things look really slow, I'm going to take off my video because that will make the bandwidth work better. But it seems to be okay right now. So now I'm going to do a try, just a search. I'm going to do undocumented students and university, and I'm also going to put in immigration here. And this is just going to give you a feel for the kind of thing you might search. Of course, I'm going to spell immigration correctly. And now we're going to do this search here, specifically in the journal library. One of the cool things about HeinOnline is you can do a search specifically in one of the 30 plus collections that are part of HeinOnline Academic, or you can do them in just one at a time, or all of them, or only some of them. And you can kind of pick and choose up here. You can click here to search all databases or just some of them. In this case, I'm in the journals right now. And so we see we have 566 results. Here's something called members only, undocumented students and in-state tuition. Let's see if there's something else that might be even more interesting to us. Evading residents, undocumented students, higher education, and the states. That could certainly be interesting. Is post-secondary access for undocumented immigrants an important right? How the United States and Europe differ. So you have like a comparative aspect. Let's open, just to give you a feel for a document on HeinOnline, this one, evading residents, undocumented students, higher education, and the states. And notice on the right here that this article has been cited by 33 other articles. And if you want to go to the full text of those articles that cite this article, you can click and go to that. And notice this article might be pretty important because it's been accessed in a rolling period 24 times in HeinOnline. So let's open this up just to give you a feel for what it looks like. Now you'll notice it is an actual replica, a PDF replica of what the book would look like if you actually got the print journal. However, it's fully searchable. And at the touch of a button, you can change it to the text of the page, the OCR text, which is also fully searchable. So, and you can toggle between the text of the page and this image. Now, because this is fully searchable, anytime you see a blue hypertext link within here, for example, a case cited in here, another article, another government document, you will see a blue hypertext link, and you can seamlessly go from here in HeinOnline to another part of HeinOnline. And that's one of the beauties of HeinOnline. It's bringing together journals, books, government documents, secondary information, primary information, all in one place. And it really organizes it for you. I'm just going to show you quickly some of the functionality when you're opening, have a document. If you want to cite this, by the way, this particular journal article, you can go here. Now you have all these different formats, whether we're talking about a Blue Book, APA, MLA, all the major ones. Even if you're doing work for Canada, we use the McGill Guide, and we even have an Australian citation here. Also, something you should be aware of, we work with RefWorks, EndNote, Zotero, Noodle Tools. You can import a text file right here. EndNote. Noodle Tools is the newest one we work with, so just keep that in mind. Okay, I'll just quickly show you some of the functionality here, and then we'll go into some other aspects of HeinOnline. So if you want to download a PDF of this section, you click here. If you want to print, you click here. If you want to email this to someone else, even someone who's not on trial or doesn't subscribe, you can you can send this to a total stranger. We just keep innovating at HeinOnline, so now you can actually choose what citation format you send this in. So if you click here, you can email this, and you can actually pick the citation form, and you can send this to someone who you want to send this to. So this just gives you a look here. I think it's on Blue Book at the moment right there. And you can put a message for the person, you can send it to multiple people. So that's just something to be aware of. Now I'll go back. If my computer's not stuck, which it is not. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna just do another search just to give you another feel for searching another topic, and then I'll go into the immigration collection itself. Okay, also searching in the journal library in this case, I'm going to do a search for, I'll put in DACA and DREAM Act. Now we have all sorts of results. Now notice you have facets on the left, so you could really fine tune the search. This is 494 results, but you could fine tune this by date. You could fine tune this to only look at articles or only reviews, etc. You could pick what aspect or what topic specifically. You could say, I only want to look at the results that talk about immigration law, or you could go broader and look at something like constitutional law generally and the immigration aspects of that. Or you could look at something more specific like education law and the immigration aspects of that. You could specify just looking in the United States or a specific state, and you could use this to say, I want Barack Obama or Joe Biden or Donald Trump or Janet Napolitano, I want them mentioned in this article, and then you could choose like that. So I like to start with the journals because you can really go into things like that. But you can also find lots of material if you were going into our U.S. congressional documents with our fully searchable congressional record, Or if you wanted some, you know how the Federal Register is like the sort of the newspaper for the federal government, you could search all sorts of immigration topics in the Federal Register, even executive orders that relate to immigration, or you could see the codified version of the Federal Register called Code of Federal Regulations and look at immigration topics that way. You can even go into our US Federal Legislative History Library and look at all sorts of key immigration statutes and find out the legislative history. Why would you care about the legislative history? Because you want to understand the legislative intent. So whenever you want to understand what Congress was intending by a given act, you can go into our US Federal Legislative History Library. But now I want to quickly show you our immigration law and policy, which, as I remember, is an add-on, but a very, very inexpensive add-on to HeinOnline Academic. It's additional for a general academic institution, which we mean non-law school institution, which most of you are. It would basically be $695 the first year, but then after that first year, the price goes way down to $260. So it starts off at $695, but after that, it's a renewal of about $260 per year. But in addition, we have a discount now called our Spring Savings Discount, which allows you to get it for 15% off. So that makes it only $590.75 first year. Just something to be aware of. We don't usually talk a lot about prices here, but it's such a reasonable value for what it is. So what is this immigration law and policy in the US module? Well, like any of these, we can click next to it and we have a nice description and it tells you what's in it. Notice it has almost 4,000 titles, 731,000 pages worth of material. If you want a CSV or save this at Excel, you can always click here. And let's open this up so you can actually see the different tabs that are in immigration law and policy in the US. Well, so we have, you can search by all titles, but we have acts and legislative histories. So there are other parts of HeinOnline Academic that have the statutes, such as the statutes at large in the US Code. And there are other parts of HeinOnline Academic that have legislative histories. This has additional legislative histories specific to immigration. And so we put that in the acts and legislative histories tag right here. Then if you're researching just law and policy generally in the area of immigration, whether we're talking about books and periodicals, you could search and browse here. If any of you are interested in extradition, this immigration collection has a whole section on extradition, whether we're talking about extradition to Brazil or extradition to another country, a country in Europe or Asia, etc. You can look up historical and current material on extradition. And then, like we have in various parts of HeinOnline, we have congressional hearings. These are fully searchable. All of HeinOnline is fully searchable, whether we're talking about congressional documents, government documents, or congressional hearings. It's fully searchable. It's Senate and House hearings, in this case, on immigration, because this is the immigration collection. So definitely check that out. If we can want to search specific congressional hearings on certain topics of immigration, we could do that. Now, here's where you would find Congressional Research Service reports. You know, the Congressional Research Service is always putting out special documents which kind of summarize the potential law or of an area. In this case, they're doing reports on immigration, some really great topics that they have put out, and we have various CRS reports. Certainly valuable, well worth looking into. And then there's the General Accountancy Office reports. So it used to be called the General Accounting Office, I believe, and we have fully searchable reports from them. And then there have been many, as you may know, Supreme Court cases that have dealt with immigration topics. Not only do we have the full Supreme Court cases and other cases, both state and federal, dealing with immigration, but here for you, whenever you need them, are Supreme Court briefs dealing with immigration. And then we have scholarly articles on the topic of immigration. Now, what is BIA precedent decisions, you ask? So that is the precedents. And I just want to, I keep forgetting exactly what it stands for, because I always want to say Bureau of Immigration Appeals, but now I've confirmed that it's actually Board of Immigration Appeals. So I'm not going to say Bureau of Immigration Appeals. And that's where that is, right here under BIA precedent decisions. So many different specific areas of immigration, and you could just, let's browse this just so you can see the kind of topics that have come out before the BIA precedents. So, and it's pointing you to specific sections. over here. These are specific sections of the BIA material, and you can click on any of these of your choice and it'll take you to the full text. So let's look at some of the other topics here. Here's adjustment of status. You know how people are sometimes changing their status by applying for a green card, etc. We have all sorts of material on a topic like adjustment of status. And you could just scroll down here in your leisure. So that's one of the sections of the immigration collection here. Then we have the U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants, very valuable if you're looking for information on asylum and how it's changed over the years. So that's very valuable. We have specific Code of Federal Regulations materials that we've brought into this collection dealing with Title 8, which focuses on immigration. So that's where you would go for this. U.S. Code Title 8, other related works, bibliographies on immigration, and additional resources. What are some of the additional resources? You can see we have a Lib Guide for you on this collection. We have Lib Guides on many different HeinOnline collections, but these are great. They're free. Any of your institutions can put these right on your website. You can use them. Here, in this case, Tara, who put the Lib Guide together, is highlighting certain key parts of this Code of Federal Regulations. CF8 CFR Part 270. This is the section of the Code of Federal Regulations that outlines statutory definitions and penalties for document fraud. In this case, 28 CFR Part 68, the section of the Code of Federal Regulations that outlines the rules of practice and procedure for administrative hearings, and so on. So this can be, Lib Guides in general and HeinOnline can be really valuable for you, especially when you're researching immigration. So definitely check that out. And I wanted to show you, let's do a search within the immigration law and policy in the US. In this case, I'm going to do a search for, let's see, I want to do a different subject. I'm going to put in, someone wanted a search on this in another demo I did pretty recently. I'm going to search the term Muslim ban within specifically the immigration collection. And here we have 26 results. And notice they're of all different types. It's not just journal articles. It's not just congressional materials. And it's the 26 results that are in this particular collection on immigration. So we might want to look at some of them, or we might want to use the fastest on the left to specify something. So we could say, I only want to look at certain dates. I only want to look at articles or congressional record reports or comments. Or perhaps I only want to look at immigration hearings or Supreme Court briefs, et cetera. You can fine tune those kinds of things. Then we have, so we can either look at one of these documents or let's go on to another search. I'm going to show you an advanced search feature, which can really make searching in any one of the HeinOnline collections, especially the immigration collection, very interesting. Now you could do a search here using proximity. Notice we have a built-in template. You can specify what kind of document you want to use, whether it's a history document or an immigration hearing document or a GAO reports document. You can specify, you can put search by text, title, creator, author, description. So keep all of that in mind. And then of course here you can specify your dates. But I'm going to go to a Venn diagram search because it can be especially useful here. And I'm going to search, I mentioned DACA, and let's search and DREAM Act. I'm going to put in the term undocumented. And now this is going to give your students and faculty a way to visualize the results and see Venn diagrams to see sort of in this immigration collection where the results are and where they overlap. Okay, so here's the Venn diagram results. So what do we see? We have 58 results, which are, these are three circles. This is the circle of the word undocumented. It could be undocumented immigrant, it could be undocumented worker, whatever it is, but these are all the results in the immigration collection undocumented. This circle here is all the results for the word, the phrase DREAM Act. Notice if I click on this circle, there are 194 results because there are more results for DREAM Act and there is overlap between all these three. Now, click here. For DACA, there are 380 results, and we have all the results here. But we wanted to see the overlap between these three, and that's this area. And now we see there's only 58 that have undocumented and DREAM Act and DACA. If we only want to see undocumented and DREAM Act, it's this area, which is 141 results. If we only want to see undocumented and DACA, it's this area, which is 128 results. But only here. See how interactive this is? And let's say you wanted to see this document. Let's see this DACA and DAPA Deferred Action Initiatives, frequently asked questions. This is from when this was very much in the news in 2017. So this is a Congressional Research Service report. Notice we have, as I mentioned, we have articles, government documents, cases, in this case, Congressional Research Service report. And we could want a permalink to it. For example, you want to use this for a syllabus. You click here on the permalinks. This will always link to this URL. If you want to save this in our bookmarking tool, which is called MyHein, you can set up a MyHein profile up here, and you can click and save your results. You want to search within a search, for example, just the term DAPA. You could search DAPA every time it comes up in this. You want to change the image to the next page, etc. You can go like this. You can rotate the image. You can make the image full screen, etc. And you can also shrink it back. And then you could also change this, as I mentioned, to just OCR text. So now you're not just dealing with an image, you're dealing with OCR text. And if you want to, for example, if you were writing an essay or something like that, or a paper of some sort, you could take it and paste and put it within your document. So goes like that. That is one very valuable aspect of searching in HeinOnline in the immigration collection. So I'm just going to, because we don't have that much time here, I'm going to show you, this is where you set up your MyHein profile. That's where you can create table of contents alerts. You can rerun queries. For example, I could rerun that DACA and Dreamer query. I could rerun a search. I could do a search on Mexican, remain in Mexico, the term remain in Mexico, which I've done in the past, and I can rerun it using this bookmarking tool. If I want to see what's new, what, for example, immigration material we've added in a given month, or what we've added to all the different collections in terms of government documents, I go to what's new, and I can get monthly content release here. If I want to see, if I want help, for example, I'm trying to put together an immigration related query. I'm not doing the right things maybe. You can go to live chat from 8:30 to 6, Monday through Friday, and that's going to allow you to get a student, a faculty member, or a professor can get, or a librarian can get help with putting together their search. And that's live chat right here in the green. And then in addition to that, if you go here, you can get our Lib Guides. These are, I really recommend it, especially the folks of you who are already subscribers or on trial. Really use our Lib Guides. It's just a great tool that allows you to make everything more discoverable and find things, and has a lot of great tips. And then we have a whole knowledge base. This is one of the places where you can find great videos on how to, for example, how to find a case, how to find a government document, how to find an article. And then we also have a great YouTube channel that you guys should definitely take a look at as well. Just put it in YouTube and HeinOnline and Google, and you can go right to our YouTube channel. And we have all sorts of great current videos on all our new innovations. Some of you might notice that the screen looks a little bit different. We've just made a little, but we have a little bit of aspect here to make it a little sleeker. So we, instead of having a separate menu here for things like catalog or author, it's just built in here. And then when you start to type something like, in this case, immigration, it gives you the option after the fact of choosing author, title, citation, catalog, etc. So it's just a way that it's more and sort of built in. And then if we want to, we have a great blog that I recommend you guys take a look at. You subscribe to the blog. There probably are going to be articles on immigration, but it's also on every single topic that's in HeinOnline, because don't forget, HeinOnline has religious studies material, American studies material, American history material, political material, government, politics, law material, human rights, civil rights, and immigration, and also things like women's studies, etc. So you can really find a lot of material. So by getting our free blog, you can keep abreast, and we're always adding new material. So we add new collections and no additional charge. For example, we added this COVID collection in the past, and a collection on the Electoral College in the past year. It just goes on and on. So definitely keep touch with us by finding out what new blog articles we've come up with. So what else do I want to show you? I'm going to show you, since we have a small bit of time here, this is where you would go if you wanted to do a federal legislative history library search. I mentioned that before.
Hey Steve,
yes.
can you make sure everyone's muted? We're having a hard time hearing you. Just
Oh
some
yes.
feedback.
Thank you. Let me see. I'm muting. Okay, now everyone should be muted. Did that improve the? I still hear someone. Okay. I'm going to try it one more time.
You got it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, are there any questions, Tim? Are there any questions that I should address since we have a few more minutes?
I don't believe so. I think I've touched upon most of them throughout the presentation. If anyone has any questions, yeah, go ahead.
Are there any topics that I was covering that when the background talking was very loud that people couldn't hear that you'd like me to quickly cover again? Hopefully you were able to piece together what I was saying, even though.
I have a question.
Yes.
Regarding the Lib Guides, can we incorporate any or all partial information from the Lib Guides to our university Lib Guides? And of course, we give proper credit to HeinOnline, but I just wanted to make sure that would be okay. Because we do political science and history and all these other courses. And I know our poli-sci folks would really love to be able to take advantage of some of this stuff. If we incorporated it in our Lib Guides, it would make it a lot easier for them to actually get the information and the help they need.
Yes, they're designed to be used on your website. You can go now. I recommend like choosing the ones that fit your trial or what you.
Yeah.
But you're certainly able to use them at will. Tim might have additional comments to make on that.
Oh yeah, no, just please, absolutely. For anyone, if there's material that would be useful for you in the Lib Guide, just rip it off. Take what you can and use it wherever you'd like.
Are there any other questions since we have a couple more minutes? Let's see. Yes, so if you get the immigration collection, there's still all the legislative histories from the additional collections are still organized in you'll find them in sources of compiled legislative history within the Federal Legislative History Library. So it's still organized the same way, but there's additional content that the immigration collection, the add-on, brings that is not necessarily in other parts of HeinOnline.
Steve, looks like we have a request to show the immigration collection overview once more.
Yes, so here we are. We're going into immigration law and policy. This is where you would download the titles. You can see the different tabs here. Law and policy materials. There's even a certain section on extradition. Here's where you would go for congressional hearings, general accountancy office reports, Supreme Court briefs dealing specifically with immigration. scholarly articles on the topic of immigration. This is the BIA precedent decisions, Board of Immigration Appeals precedent decisions on all these kinds of different topics. You have a whole taxonomy going here, and you can pick the letter that you want to go to. Or you could search up here for what you're looking for and specify, look at BIA precedent decisions. U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants, CFR Title 8. We have the full CFR in other parts of the HeinOnline. This is specifically Title 8 that you can access to really hone in on immigration. U.S. Code Title 8, other related works, bibliography related to immigration, and additional resources. You can do a regular search here, or you can do an advanced search, which gives you that Venn diagram feature, and you can also fine tune things here using proximity, etc. Here's where you can choose specifically what titles you want to use. Now, if you ever wonder if HeinOnline has a certain topic in it, you could do an advanced search, just searching all the different collections. You can go to advanced search, and you can see here, there's something called catalog subjects. And so you open up catalog subjects, and you just go to I. In this case, we're looking for immigration. And then you say, is there immigration? Is there a lot of immigration content in HeinOnline? And you can see under immigration, right here, all sorts of things, immigrant children, immigrant families, immigrants, et cetera. And you can pick and choose those and go to certain items in HeinOnline dealing with those topics. Another cool thing you could do, for example, if you were just starting to research in the HeinOnline Law Journal Library, good thing to do is take a look at well, this is very useful. If you want to compare, for example, what's in the journal library to your own collection or what you get through another database, you can download a CSV title. But sometimes you want to see, are there journals that where the journal itself is on a particular subject? And then for that, you would go into our subject list and you could say, hey, do you have any journals specific on specific to immigration? Obviously, in general journals, there's going to be a lot of articles on immigration, but you could also say, there are 6 journals specific to immigration just in the journal library. So that's something you could do. You could do that with any topic. You can say, hey, I want to look at environmental. There are 65 journals specifically that deal with environmental. Does it mean that those journals are the only parts of HeinOnline that deal with environmental? No, that's just journals where the main topic is environmental. There, of course, will be many articles in other parts of HeinOnline on the given subject you're looking for. Any other questions? I think we've gone over. If you think of any other questions, just we'll be following up with you. Just email us. My email is sroses@wshein.com. I'll put it right here. I'll put it here in the search bar. I'll put Tim's email as well. So if you think of questions after the fact, let us know. I'll let you look at that right there. Well, I think we're out of time. So I apologize if anyone had to stay over. Definitely enjoyed talking to you all. I'm glad that you have this interest, and we would love to explore it more with you. So definitely, if you want to have a trial to our immigration law collection, for example, if you have a trial going of HeinOnline Academic and you want to add a trial of the immigration collection, or if you subscribe to HeinOnline Academic and you want to have a trial of that, please let us know. You could email Tim or myself. Let us know. It's a free trial. Usually we could be 30 days if you'd like. So definitely email us about that. And it's a wonderful collection, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of great use out of it. Thank you so much. Great talking to you. Talk to you soon.